Hello and welcome to tonight's World Esports Roundup. We're going to cover World's 2023 Finals. We're going to just recap that. If you missed it, it occurred earlier today. It's not a very long series if you'd like to watch back. Predictions, I'm 39-14. That does mean I picked Weibo to win today. And I thought the blue side would be a difference. I thought the draft would be a difference. I thought the Shy performing would be a difference. And you know what? Honestly, the draft was important. The Shy was important. And the thing is, Weibo lost because these two parts were so important, in my opinion. So, T1 sweep 3-0. I do not see this as a blowout, although 3-0 signifies that. I think a lot of people are thinking it's a blowout. Zayu 16-4, 17, 31% of damage in the win. Gumayushi 7-0-15 in bot lane. Goes deathless. Xiaohu led the way for Weibo, going 2-6-1, 26% of damage in the loss. So, Owner was my MVP for this one, and I'll get into that. Zeus wins MVP, but I'm going to give it to Owner. I think Zeus is the MVP of the entire tournament, but Owner of this series. Now, Weibo came out setting tempo in game one. They were very active. Weiwei was very active on the Maokai and did a lot of good things for Weibo. Now the trade, see, this is the trade. This is how this works. Weibo are making plays, T1 are taking Drakes. Well, now you get to the mid game, T1 have objectives, Weibo have not done enough with their leads, and unfortunately, for Weibo, they have went top lane a couple times. They've taken Zeus and limited the damage. Zeus had like 20 CS or so up there, maybe even 30. Although they've taken multiple trips up there and killed him, and Weiwei's went mid lane. But the bot lane diff was super massive to me. Callista Renata for T1 had like 40, 50 CS, relatively in a vacuum against Senna TK for Light and Crisp. And that is an example. This is part of the draft thing with Weibo. So Weibo decided to put Xiaohu on Jace in game one and then make the bot lane weak side with Senna TK. They don't go down there at all. And in a vacuum, that bot lane gets smoke showed. So Guma, Keria show up, Light, Crisp do not. And then in game two, they go Callista Senna in bot lane, which signifies to me Weibo were trying to adapt to T1 and not play the way that they should themselves. And you could argue this is what JDG did as well. They take themselves out of their game, more focused on doing what T1 does best, which is AD carry supports and things like that, playing into T1's hands, focusing more on, playing their game, and they just couldn't do it. In game two, T1 made plays, Weibo took objectives, and then T1 found a way to come out ahead because the Shy inted his face off on Aatrox, feeding Guma a kill. That did not blow out the game, however. It did certainly help T1's case, but Weibo were competitive in that one for quite a while until they simply weren't, and that was in the mid to late game. I think first turret may have fell in game two at like 17, 18 minutes to kind of give you a perspective on just how tight the game was. A lot of people want to see the 3-0 and see that T1 didn't die much and things like that. It's true. T1 kind of waited out Weibo. But in my opinion, I felt like Weibo had opportunities to actually turn these games and just didn't. And that could be in part due to draft, putting the wrong players in positions to carry, and things of that nature. Like Weiwei, I thought did fine in game one. Game two, it was just the opposite, right? So Owner on Nocturne, which I thought was going to happen against JDG, and it didn't because it's a T1 special to pull out Nocturne in must-win situations. And the Nocturne worked. Owner was very active on the champion. His Lee Sin in game 1 and 3, disgusting. Lee Sin is his best champion. It's one of the best Lee Sins of all time, and he's still like 20 years old, so he's only going to get better. But the Nocturne game was great as well, and that's why I made him MVP. I thought he was very active in games 2 and 3. Game 1, he did his job and did not int at all, did not get caught out. Zeus got caught out a couple times. Faker got caught out. The bot lane was just kind of doing its thing in a 2v2 and winning by itself in this series in general. But in my opinion, Owner just being everywhere was a big difference maker. We saw that Faker finally took the Silas into the Maokai in game 2, which is nice to see because that's the counter we've been waiting for all tournament. It really hasn't been as present as you would like it to be because it is the offset to the Maokai ulti that zones everything. So that was nice for T1. So draft in games 1 and 2 I thought were huge. And then in game 3, T1 just dominates. Like, that was a dominant win. Weibo really had nothing going for themselves. The Shy inting his face off. I mean, his Kennen, like, we're all of a sudden pulling out Kennen. Weibo flipped tails. I predicted they'd flip heads. The Shy flipped tails. The Shy's inting his face off. Weibo are putting Xiaohu, is instead putting Xiaohu in a position to carry instead of Light and Crisp, who has been their strongest point. And I think it was obvious that when you take them out of it, you have issues. Like in game 3, I believe they went bot lane and got Light a kill on the Varus. But Varus is just, you have Xayah Rakan on the other side. Like, Xayah Rakan's going to have more relevance in the mid to late game, and that's what happened. Just outdrafted, outplayed. Like, some people are saying Weibo didn't deserve to be here. They had no business being here and things like that. I think, Weibo's always had the potential to be here. We've said this all along. They can beat JDG, but they also, I think, lost FPX. And today they played like they did against FPX. It's just a fact of the matter. That is Weibo. Now, Weibo flipped heads throughout this whole event. You could argue against NRG they flipped tails, but found a way to win. And then beat BLG and beat T1 smoked them. And this is a classic case also of best team of the tournament wins Worlds. JDG is the team of the year. I don't care who this upsets saying that. T1 win the event. They win Worlds. They get the trophy. They get the skins. They get remembered. But for those that actually really paid attention throughout the year, they know JDG was the best team this year. And it was just a matter of T1 fitting the patch the best, the Worlds patch the best. And that was showcased here. I mean, Zeus and Owner, Owner dealt the second most damage on the team, which is also why I make him MVP. Like, he dealt, now was it 25% damage? No. But it was the second most damage on the team out of your jungler. Faker and Guma kind of taking a back seat. Like, Faker did his job, but Guma, didn't die, right? Don't die. Play weak side, don't die. And win your matchup, and they did, Guma and Kyria. So, it's, it was a great performance. I thought Zeus on the Gwen did some nice things as well. But in the end, I thought Owner was a big difference across all 3 games. And, it is what it is. So that's it for the year. Worlds content, I will have a couple wrap-up videos probably Tuesday and going forward as we work out our roundups and things like that as free agency opens. Tomorrow there will be a video about the LCS free agency preview and also a roundup for all the player news that has happened during this final week of Worlds, and then free agency begins and everything will start with that. So thank you for watching. If you like the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and I hope to see you again tomorrow.